Mark Cabali. And thanks, Mark, for being here today.
Thanks a lot, Angela, for having us. Hey, James, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Mark?
Pretty good. My question is about Benny Snell. What have you seen from him differently this year? It's early, and it's just some walkthroughs. And what have you seen from him? You like where he's at, and how can he help the running game this year?
Man, he's a very talented runner. He looked real focused this year. You can tell he put in a lot of work in the offseason. He looks slim, fast, eager to learn. He looks ready, so I'm excited for him. He looks fast. He's in shape, so there'll be big things coming from him.
Thanks, James.
Great. Joe Rutter, Trib.
Yeah, hey, James, I know last time we talked to you, you weren't concerned about coronavirus, but as the deadline approached and a lot of the numbers got higher for guys opting out, did it ever cross your mind?
No, I was excited to get back, be around my teammates, and be around football again. So still haven't thought about it or, questioned playing this year.
Dale Lawley, DK Pittsburgh Sports.
Hey, James, I'm just wondering, once you guys have gotten back onto the field here, do you sense a different sense or a bit of, I guess, excitement regarding this team? You guys didn't have anybody opt out. Everybody's here, ready to go. Do you just sense you guys were only one of 3 teams that didn't have an opt-out? Is there a sense of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, community with you guys?
I just feel like guys are excited to be back. Like you said, nobody on our team opted out. And so it's easy to talk about excitement and all that. We were just, excited to get back. We've been out of football for a while. It's been a long off season for us. And so, everybody on this team loves football, and we love being around each other. And so that's what it's about, great teammates. I have great teammates here. And we were excited to see each other back. So we just focused on, taking it one day at a time and just coming together as a group.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN.
Hey, James. When we talked to David DeCastro earlier this week, he said that last year sucked for the offense, and that he wanted to forget about it. But how do you balance forgetting about last season, but also learning from the things that went wrong and maybe even being motivated by it this year?
You just be a professional, and you just realize, you can't get time back. You can't, get plays back, and you always got to have that next play and next opportunity mindset. We have opportunity now to come together at this, during this weird time, but we're making the most out of it. And so we're putting our best foot forward and just, coming together. And we can't do anything about last year, so we're just looking forward to this year.
Will Graves, Associated Press.
Hey, James. Curious, you guys haven't really been on the field in pads for a long time. The preparation for this season is unlike preparation for other seasons. I write about other sports in this town. I write about the Pirates. All their pitchers are getting hurt. They only had 3 weeks to get ready as opposed to 6. I mean, are you worried that the long layoff, between the physicality of this, of padded practices and stuff might be a trouble for you guys as you get going?
No, we're not worried about it. We'll do the necessary things we need to do during practice to get ready. And, we'll be smart about it. I know what it feels like, to be in the game and get tackled and have contact and all that. So, we're not worried about it. It's the same for everybody. So as long as we be professionals, we'll be fine.
Ray Fittipaldo, Post-Gazette.
James, I just had a follow-up on the decision to opt in or opt out. Was it a bit more complicated for you because you went through chemo and, your immune system may or may not be, back to where it should have been? And what were those conversations like with your family as you tried to gather as much information as you could on that, the process?
I'm going on 4 years now removed from cancer, so I didn't have to talk with my family, and it was never a concern for me. I've been healthy for years now, so it was easy. It was an easy decision for me. Not much thought went into it. I wanted to play football, and I'm healthy. My immune system is back healthy, so not worried.
Appreciate it.
Brian Batko, Post-Gazette.
Hey, James. There's a couple teams around the league that are doing kind of I don't know if they're calling it a soft bubble, but they're basically bubbling themselves at like a team hotel and stuff like that. Is that something that you guys as players have talked about? Would you be open to that? And how much have you paid attention to stuff like that around the league, what other teams are doing to try to navigate this whole thing?
No, it hasn't been nothing we talked about and haven't been paying much attention to it. We've been making it work right here at Heinz. It's been good. We've been keeping it safe here. And so I'm enjoying it so far. You know, not a lot of thought went into. We haven't been talking about being in a bubble or whatnot. Taking all the necessary precautions here at Heinz and making it work. So it's been running smooth so far.
James?
Jeff Hawthorne, 93.7.
Hey, James, just wondering if you can give us an idea of what having Ben back means to the confidence of the offense, and you tell us how he's looked throwing the football.
Looking good. He's motivated. You know, he expressed to us, you know, how anxious he is to get back out there. And of course, you know, you got a Hall of Famer. Everybody's gonna rally around him when he comes back. And so we're just happy that he's recovered and he's healthy. You know, for him, first and foremost, you know, that he's healthy. And we know that, you know, with him in charge, you know, we're going to do big things. So it's been nice having him back.
Thanks.
Mike Pizzuta, DVE.
James, the discussion when your name comes up from Kevin Colbert and people associated with the team, they keep saying, we know what we have in James when he's healthy. Did you do anything in the offseason that maybe you hadn't before, but you picked up on in an effort to stay healthy, or was it pretty typical for you?
No, I just worked hard. You know, that's all there is to it. You just have a work ethic. And, every year you attack it, give it all you got in the offseason, prepare for the season. It's a game of football. Injuries going to happen, so I don't really pay no attention to what anybody says, honestly. As long as the people who make the important decisions, you know, they believe in me, that's really all that matters. Really don't care what anybody else thinks. And so the ones who make all the important decisions, they believe in me, I believe in myself. And so I'll leave it at that.
Didi Kinkwabala, NFL Network.
Hey, James, thanks for doing this.
Yep.
You're not getting to hit as much as you ordinarily would. You're not having preseason games. So as a running back, how much do you miss that? Do you miss it? Do you think it's necessary? And how do you evaluate these young guys, like McFarland, for instance, if they're not getting any game action?
Well, you know, I leave that to Coach T, and he's want to make those decisions. I know he understands that's a hurdle that we have to deal with not having preseason games. And so, you know, we're going to follow his lead, and he'll put us in position in practice for us to get used to game-like scenarios, I'm sure. And so that way, come September when we kick off, everybody be ready to roll, you know, full speed.
But do you feel you need a little bit? I mean, do you feel like you need a little more action before the real live game action starts?
Oh, no, it's my 4th year, so you know, it's just a game of football. I know how to, you know, I know what hits feel like.
Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports Now.
Hey, James. You know, as you guys, you know, David DeCastro said last season, you know, sucked or whatever. But are there some things that you guys learned about yourselves or about yourself as an offense without Ben that you can maybe take as positive lessons or things that could be improvements now that you have him back?
I feel we had the opportunity to see how good our defense is, and so you know, we learn win or lose. If we go on to win a Super Bowl, we'll learn things from that season. If we go on to have a season like we did last year, you know, we learn things. So we're constantly learning. That's our job, is to continue to grow and evaluate ourselves. And so, you know, it's just nice to have him back. Like Dave said, last year was last year. So we're just focused on this year, and you know, got a great defense, got a great offense. Let's do it. Let's put it together.
Bo Marchiani, College to Pro.
James, a few years ago with Stephen Ridley, Le'Veon Bell, you were the rookie. Now you're kind of like the veteran of the running back group. Have you taken on a leadership role, per se? And just talk about that experience of being the guy with the experience now.
Yeah, it's definitely in a leadership role. It's my job to, you know, get that running back group going. So I just got to set the tone every day when I step out there for practice and, you know, teach these young guys. It's been awesome. I've been learning from them, you know, and they've been learning from me. And so it's been nice. We're all learning together. Ant's looking great. Being a rookie in the room. Man, he's learning fast. He's looking good. He's eager to learn. He's asking questions, and he's picking things up as well. So, we're all just learning from each other. It's a group effort going forward. It's been fun so far.
Thank you.
All right. We got time for two more. So Chris Adamski, Trib.
Hey, James, I know it's like everything else. It's tough to, with no on pads and everything yet, but the offensive line, it had been the same long before you got there, essentially the same five guys. You're going to have a third new right tackle this year in 3 years, a new left guard. Do you still see it as being, one of the best in the league? And do you have faith in, Matt to move, and whether it be Chooks or Zach to take over on the right tackle?
Yeah, I got faith in each and every one of those guys. Some different pieces. Standard is a standard here for his offensive linemen. We got an elite group. The way they come to work every day, the relationships that they have with each other, those are kind of things that can't be measured. I get to see it every day. So I know that that's an elite group. I'm excited to, be in a protection game with them. I'm excited to run behind them and just take the field with them. So definitely have an elite group.
All right, last one we got time for today. Noah Strackbean, Sports Illustrated.
Hey, James. Can you talk a little bit about Derek Watt, what you've seen from him, and kind of what it's like to adjust to a new fullback?
It's been awesome having Derek. He comes to work every day. He's he's a leader as well. He's in the classroom. He sets a tone there with how his knowledge and how he's picking things up. And on the field, he brings energy. So excited to be with Derek, man. He has a great resume. He's going to help our team out a lot, especially on special teams as well. The way he comes down on kickoff and on the fullback. So he does it all. So we're excited to be with him.
We're going to start first with Joe Rudder, Trib.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Eddie. We talked to James, and he said he never really considered opting out of this season. Had you ever had any kind of consideration with him? And did you ever think you might not have him for this?
The climate being what it is, obviously, in his previous situation being what it was, that could always be a possibility. But knowing his heart and where he's at and the kind of competitor he was, it was never a real thought in my head. I mean, it's never anything that was even approached in a conversation or that he and I had or anything like that. So to be honest with you, I kind of fully expected him to be a full participant. And that's just how he's built.
Okay. Thank you.
Brian Backo, Post-Gazette.
Hey, Eddie, how you doing?
Doing well.
Just curious, with Jalen Samuels being on the reserve list and everything, how much is he missing from what you guys are doing? Is it almost relatively better to have him out right now rather than later? And I guess how much do you still get to correspond with him and keep him in the loop as much as possible?
So to your first question, I mean, any time missed and days of work missed isn't necessarily a good thing. But if you're going to miss some time, it would be in the front end of this where it's, tempo down, it's walkthrough, it's meetings and stuff like that. Yes, I talk to him daily. Not only, first of all, my most important concern is his well-being. Secondly, to make sure he's up to speed as far as meetings and what we've talked about and plays going in that day. He does have the advantage of going into his third year, so he's done most of these things, and everything will resonate with him once he hears it. He's just going to have to go out and, when he does show up, hit the ground running. COVID has put us in that type of situation where guys got to be willing to show up and show out if they are put into that protocol. So I would expect him to do that. And I do have confidence that when he gets here, he'll know he'll know what he's doing and can be able to go play fast and react fast to what's going on.
Thanks.
For Crowder, ESPN.
Hey, Eddie, good to see you. A lot's been made about Ben coming back and how much that's just going to lift the offense as a whole. But for the run game, what other things need to happen to make sure that a repeat of last year doesn't happen? What kind of things, whether it's on the line or specific things that Connor can do, other than just stay healthy, need to happen for the run game to improve?
We've been, obviously we know that needs to be an improvement. We've worked on it. Ben's presence opens up the run game. I also think the run game can help Ben, with some things. So obviously we put an emphasis on improving that way. Yes, health is one concern, but we can all take our piece of the puzzle of how we can improve, what things we need to improve, whatever detail that is, whether it's running a play differently, identifying it differently, what have you. And we've gone through that with a fine-tooth comb, even virtually in the off season. And I feel really confident about where it's at. And I feel confident about my room in a whole that whoever's toting the rock can be productive. So I'm excited because I feel like the run game will has progressed, it's gotten better. And obviously when you add a Hall of Fame quarterback to the mix, that makes everybody around him better.
Thanks.
Dale Lawley, DK Pittsburgh Sports.
Hey, Eddie, I'm just curious, in retrospect, did James maybe come back too early a couple of times last year and kind of made the injury worse than what it was? Was he pushing to come back and help the team?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely wants to be out there, but I'm no doctor, so I can't really, say whether he came back early or not. He's got to be the one that makes that call on his body and the medical professional. So I would defer. I'm going to always defer to them and John Norwig and our training staff on what they say to do. But I do know the type of person he is. He's always going to be chomping at the bit to get back out there. So as a coach on that end, that's something you need to monitor and make sure you're having that communication that, he's taking the proper precautions. That he's in good shape, that he can go out there and play fast. And really that's my job. So I lean heavily on the docs and the training staff when it comes to things like that.
Thanks.
Jeff Hawthorne, 93.7.
Hey, Eddie, hope you and family are well. Just wondering, what can you tell us about the dynamic in your room? What do you feel like the options you have in your room with the different types of running backs?
I feel like there's a lot of options in there. I mean, you got experience for one, not only on that playing running back, but also in special teams, guys who've been productive. You have, a Pro Bowl type of running back as a starter that when healthy, he's as good as any in the league. And you have a bunch of guys that skill set fits what we look for, whether that be Jalen Samuels and his versatility, whether that's Anthony McFarland and his change of direction and burst and speed, along with Kareth White being that similar type of back, Trey Edmonds and Wendell Smallwood, guys who have a resume. Again, not only playing running back, playing, special teams. You got Derek Watt, a veteran type guy, fullback. And I just look around the entire room, and obviously Benny Snell came in and his first year did some good things for us and only gotten better. And I just look around the room and I see a lot of talented guys that can help us. These practices and what we're going through now help us find out what they do best to put them in position for us to win some games, and we'll go from there. So I'm really excited about the room because of the versatility of all the guys that are in there.
Jenna Harner, PXI.
Hey, Eddie, what are some of the challenges that you guys have run into, or I guess have there been some challenges you've run into as you guys are slowly ramping up here?
Well, I mean, it was obviously frustrating when you're in a virtual type of setting and you coach football and you're used to being out there on the field with your guys and being able to walk through or, the various ways in which we help them learn. And when you're limited to just being virtual and doing that via film, you got to be very diligent about the words that you're using and the things you're saying, and very detailed about what your expectation would be for them to execute. I don't want to say that that's necessarily created, any adversity, but it's been a challenge. And but that part of it's been good because we've still been able to find different ways to operate, and getting back with them has been awesome. And so we're just trying to hit the ground running. Coach Tomlin says it all the time. We're not going to make any excuses because of the circumstance or what COVID has presented. We're going to take it in stride and execute.
Will Graves, Associated Press.
Hey, Eddie, you just ran down a list of guys in your room. I'm curious, with the lack of hitting, you're not going to get as much padded practice. There's no preseason games. do you guys might be more inclined to make sure that things are spread out early in the season, that guys, it's not going to be one guy that you might have to spread it around just to sort of protect? I don't know if that's the right word, but guys are not going to have the normal wear and tear and acclimation time that they would get during a normal season.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, with no preseason games, it's hard to get that true evaluation sometimes of some of the other backs. But at the same time, I know what a lot of them can do. So when that conversation comes to my head, it really speaks to guys like Anthony McFarland, who just got here, or Wendell Smallwood, who I'm trying to get to know, things like that. But, the nature of the running back position a lot of times is hands off until you get in a stadium or game type of environment, just because of the wear and tear that can be created every day in practice if you're not doing a good job monitoring that. So, that's part of my job is not necessarily spread them out so much to keep the wear and tear, but also to spread them out and pick spots and see what it is they can do or can't do as well as maybe the next guy. And then that helps us, put it all together. But it's just something that we're working through. And these guys are professionals. I think when, the ball gets kicked off, whenever that is, they'll be ready to play.
Mark Cavalli, The Athletic.
Hey, Eddie, thanks for doing this. My question's about Benny Snell. Just based off of some of the photos that were provided to us, looks like he's transformed his body. First of all, is that true? Did the organization ask him to do that? And what do you expect from him this year?
Well, I think whenever a new guy shows up, there's a process of getting them to understand how you go about your business as a professional. That was no different when Benny as a rookie last year, and the same process is going on with Anthony McFarland as a rookie this year. So yes, we guide them on the best ways to take care of the body, what to eat, the proper precautionary measures they need to take to keep themselves as healthy as possible. These are constant conversations we have, but then it falls on the player to implement those things. And what's been really good to see, and yes, that is true, Benny looks better. He's done a lot of running. You can see the work he's put in, but the exciting part about it is he did it while being away from us. So he had a focus on getting right and getting in the best shape he can. So like I said, I'm excited with Benny. That's a guy that's passionate and loves the game. And so he'll pick things up. I feel like he'll hit the ground running this year.
Mike Prizzuta, DVE.
Eddie, staying on the Benny Snell theme, he had a handful of games where he got a lot of carries, and that's when he really seemed to do well. What did you see in those games, and what did those tell you about where he could end up eventually?
Yeah, Benny Snell football. I mean, he thrives. I think he gets better going back to college. He gets better as the game goes on, and becomes a quote unquote finisher of those games. So I would expect that to continue to grow for him. My expectation in year 2 would be him to be more solid in understanding pass protections, him to be more solid in understanding route concepts. We did not need to ask him to do that as much last year because we have had other guys that can play that role, and we still do. But as far as his development, that's the next step. He's a willing and very capable pass protector, but I want him to understand it like I do. And so when he makes that next step, I think he's headed down the direction of being complete because he's got really good hands, and he can protect. And obviously we've seen him as a runner. I think that'll continue to improve with the shape he's in, and in turn, he'll just get better with time.
Thanks, Eddie.
Ray Fittipaldo, Post-Gazette.
Hey, Eddie, how you doing? Was wondering, what kind of tweaks did you guys make to the run game after finishing 30th in the league last year?
Well, I can't divulge all that information, but, I will say that there's been some, there's conversations on just things that we can do better and how we can do it better and how we can get in better sets formationally, different ways we can run plays and create plays by motioning the guy to a certain spot and things like that. But it's no different than anybody else in the league or involved in football is really doing. We're just trying to put our best product out. And you're right, we do realize that we need to improve, and that's been our mission, going back to the spring virtually. So we'll see where it heads from there.
Chris Adamski, Trib.
You referenced Wendell Smallwood, and what have you? I know it's football and shorts and whatever it is right now, but what have you seen from him, and how can he fit in the offense? And along with that, is it important to establish a division of labor in terms of everybody having a specific role in terms of in your room and what they can do and what situations they play in?
So to your first question, what I've seen with Wendell is he's a pro. You know what I mean? He comes into work every day. He's smart. He understands the urgency involved, and not only learning it, but how he practices. He's just a consummate professional. So it's not any surprise that he's had the record he has in the NFL. As far as the room, I'm kind of in a position where I know what a lot of the guys can do, but I also want to give them the opportunity to show me what they've improved on. So as we get going down the road here, we'll start to see what some of those things are, and then you can start to look at a division of labor or who does what well. But that's going to be the outline theme of the 2020 season in the NFL, in my opinion, is people who you can depend on, who you know what's going to do, who can go out and execute with not having missing 1,000 reps from what would have been the spring and the off season. The guys that you can depend on and know what they do. So we'll try to put a thumb on that pretty quickly on what their skill set is, and then let it shake from there. But as we sit here now, I'm just trying to see what everybody can do in the whole, and then where they've improved, maybe where some deficiencies may be, and then we can look at our team from that.
All right, we got time for just one more question. It's going to be Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports Now.
Hey, Eddie, you bring in Wendell obviously very late in the process here. Was that something that you had thought most of the offseason that you wanted to add, maybe specifically somebody with some experience before you got to camp, and why was that?
Well, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's out of my pay grade a little bit. The personnel department, they go about their business. Whoever they put in my room, I'm gonna coach the mess out of them and get them as good as they can be. And it's really as simple as that. I will say, I'm glad he's in the room because, like I said earlier, he's a professional and he's a great example for some of the younger guys on how you handle your business. But whoever they put in that room to coach, I'm gonna coach them.